Hi guys, this is Randolph Macias of the Uncensored Voice. Boy, do I got a story for you today. Oh my gosh, it's current, so we all know that current is very important and relevant to what's going on. Just want to let you know, all y'all fellow Santonians, next public school board meeting is with NISD, Northside Independent School District at 4:30 p.m. on August 16, 2021 at 5900 Evers Road. This is available via Zoom because Governor Abbott's temporary suspension of open meetings laws issued March 16, 2020 allow you to see it via Zoom or show up in person. Some of the board members will not be in person, some probably for obvious reasons, because I'm sure there's a lot to talk about. CRT, mask mandates, you name it, it's in the news right now. So via Zoom, just to let you all know, that order will lift in September 1st of this year at 12:01 a.m. So it's going to be hopefully back to business for fellow Texans, and the public will be more informed of what's going on, which makes things more transparent, which is one thing we're missing here in Bexar County and the city of San Antonio, especially in city council chambers, and probably also the Bexar County Commissioner's Court. I've tried to get a hold of Commissioner DeBerry. She has not returned any of my requests for interview as far as the story I wanted to do with Sheriff Javier Salazar. So I'll just let that one go for now. But there are upcoming elections, but she did say she is our voice. I talked to her personally and I asked her some questions very specifically. Be our voice and hold the sheriff accountable for those extra 94,000 hours of overtime that he's requesting. And a recent public records request that I made said that he has already received $8.3 or $8.4 million in the past year alone. Now he wants 94,000 hours extra. Some of these Bexar County Sheriff deputies are being, well, most of them in the detention center anyway, are being worked to death. Seriously, I've heard of high anxiety, high depression. I think in one case there was a suicide. Very, very sad, very tragic. When you work these deputies to the point of exhaustion, it's like they have no choice. Now, the sheriff did offer a psychologist or psychiatrist to see them, but then again, he's going to go with pretty much whatever Javier Salazar wants to hear. So that's like a catch-22 for these deputies. So sadly for them, it is a great source of PTSD, anxiety, depression, and yes, even suicidal thoughts and actions. I think one deputy in particular, very sad. God bless him, and he will be missed. Always back your blue, people, because you never know when you're going to need them. They put their lives on the line for you. Okay? Getting back to the mask mandate that was recently passed, let's take a look at the judges that did that. Look what we have here. We have 57 District Court Judge Antonia Arteaga. She was challenged by, Eric Pena in 2016. She won that by 66%, and she went unopposed 4 years later. Unopposed. Nobody challenged her. So, did we ask for it as Republicans? I don't know. I'm a Republican. But it is what it is. She's unopposed. We need people to go out there and challenge these people because look what happened. Look exactly what happened. Okay, this is what happened. So she went unopposed. She's a Democrat. Her term ends in 2024. So she, in conjunction with, I believe, Dallas County Judge Tanya Parker, simultaneously made a ruling, if you will, or an injunction that was sought out by the one in San Antonio was done by the city of San Antonio and Bexar County, which includes, of course, Judge Nelson Wolf, all the cronies, and I don't know how Trish DeBerry voted on that, if they had a vote or not. I hope that she said something for us, if she said she was going to be our voice for us. But in any case, Bexar County Commissioner's Court and San Antonio together sought this injunction. The injunction was granted, and also in conjunction with the Dallas County Judge Tanya Parker. Now, San Antonio Dr. I don't know if her name is Junda Wu, Medical Director of San Antonio Metro Health, and City Manager Eric Walsh, as a result of this injunction, made their edict, saying now universal mask mandate. Of course, this is in city buildings. This, of course, is in schools as well. So, of course, that affects our schools. That's why everybody's pretty pissed off about what's going on, because they did this at the last minute, going with numbers and cases and percentages. But let me just tell you one of those statistics. And this was this information I got from the Texas Tribune, which got the information from the Texas Department of State Health. But, of course, they rely on county and local reports as well. Now, do you think Bexar County is going to report anything truthfully in light of some of these things that have already come to fruition as far as elections, recent elections? I don't think so. I don't think they're telling the entire truth, or if they're lying, they're omitting the truth and saying they're not lying. But in any case, that's where they got their information. So from, let's see, August 3rd to August 10th, which is yesterday. August 3rd to August 10th, which is, let's see, what is it today? Today is the 11th. I'm sorry. Okay, so from August 3rd to August 10th, that's a 7-day period, okay? 1,656 cases of COVID-19 were diagnosed, and there were 25 deaths. They said that this is an increase from the previous weeks and months. Now, that is a 98.49% survival rate and a 1.51% death rate. This is likely the Delta variant that people are talking about. Now, I've heard with the Pfizer vaccine and also with other vaccines that you can start off probably 89% on Pfizer, and then after 6 months it goes down to like 34%. So it's like those who have been vaccinated, it's like they're not even vaccinated anymore. So I have an issue with that. I was leaning back and forth between getting the vaccination or not getting the vaccination, but I just don't know. I mean, I want to, but I got to make sure of what's going on. Now they're talking Delta variant, and the government will use anything in their power to scare you. That's what they're in the business of doing, especially in this particular part of Texas. Our council member, number 1 and number 2, are more in line with the Green New Deal than anybody else. The most liberal, the most openly socialist, also including District 9, which Patrick Van Dolen did a very good campaign against. I added in a previous podcast. Did a good job, but it was all for naught. We lost all 9 of our city council races because, once again, we just can't keep it together. So they all won, and now we're more radical than ever. And so that it is what it is. So, like I said, of course, they get their info from the county and local governments. So once again, the Democrats have focused on sticking together. I don't know how they do it, but every single time they want to get an objective done, boy, they go statewide, they go nationwide. Hell, they even went county and citywide to pretty much cheat in our elections under our election administrator, who's been serving for a long time. I think her name's Jackie something. That woman needs to be out immediately. Nobody should serve that many damn years in that position. Typically, it's the Democrats who count the votes, and typically it's the Republicans who do the poll watching. Now, I heard that there's going to be some, hopefully, I think there is some legislation out there that will call for more important and more allowed things to do as a poll watcher. I think you might be able to use your phone, but anything identifying personal, identifiable voter information is prohibited, even for a poll watcher. As a poll watcher myself, we were out there to make sure everything was documented fairly and correctly, and that's exactly what we did, and we'll do it again. And with these new laws, hopefully strengthening the poll watching gets signed into law, will make us even more effective as poll watchers, because we are just a pain in their ass, and the Democrats know it, so they find any reason in the world to kick us out. But now I think they're required to give us at least one warning before just kicking us out unsummarily. So we'll see how that works, but they just don't like it, and well, we do, because we call it voter integrity. They call it voter suppression. We know it's voter integrity. We want the wrong people to not vote, and we want to make the right people, we want to make it easier for them to vote. That's the bottom line, guys. We want fair votes. But anyway, in any case, the Democrats got it together, and these 2 judges probably colluded with each other, because that's sometimes what they do. I mean, I know they're called honorable and they're supposed to be non-partial, but in this case, there's no other way around it. She's a Democrat, the one here from Bexar County and the district court here. So the Texas school districts will not be required to notify parents of COVID cases, according to another part of this article. Now, schools will also not receive funding for remote learning if the kid does have to go into remote learning, which I believe is 20 days, and they can ask for waivers. But in some cases, if they keep them enrolled and put them in distance learning, they don't get paid. So therefore, they're losing money. So I got a follow-up on that. Just give me a moment. I'll get back to that. Judge Antonia I lost her name here. Judge Antonia Arteaga. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Arteaga, she got, once again, 66% of the vote against Ed Pena. That's a Democrat primary, and then went unopposed in 2020. She received, this is what I really wanted you to know. She received a SAPOA endorsement. She received a Bexar County Deputy Sheriff's Association endorsement, and she also received a San Antonio Firefighters Local 624 endorsement. First responders, I know that unions are typically liberal, but that's a lot of endorsements that are first responder based, and they have their own reasons for endorsing. But in any case, she got all those endorsements, and to my knowledge, that was in 2020 that she got those endorsements. Now, check this out. You're going to love this. Governor Abbott's instant response. Bam, he fired back. Big time. Governor Abbott's response was that he announced in a formal type of response, requested a writ of mandamus to the Fifth Court of Appeals to strike down immediately Judge Arteaga's tyrannical simultaneous ruling with her buddy in Dallas. So he said that her order violates Executive Order GA, that's Golf Alpha GA-38, and has the effect and force of state law. Now, judges do not legislate from the bench. They are not legislators. They interpret the law. In this case, the Judge Arteaga and her buddy in Dallas essentially legislated from the bench and got their injunction because they are liberal judges and they got what they wanted temporarily. So Governor Abbott fired back and said, "Okay, Fifth Court of Appeals, we're going to ask that it be struck down because it's nothing short of tyrannical." I think, and this is what the governor said also, there needs to be personal responsibility. It should not be a government mandate. Personal responsibility is very important, but these schools want taxpayer money to have a kid in school. So, in one case, I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to tell you a perfect example of how they can keep from losing money. So her order does violate his executive order. It has the effect of state law. So, also, any independent school district in violation will be taken to court. Governor Abbott promised this, or actually made the statement, a formal statement, said they will be sued and they will be taken to court. This is any ISD in the state of Texas. I heard of a couple of school districts here in San Antonio, I think, are going to require it and just say, oh, we don't care about state law. Even though executive orders have the force of state law and they can only be interpreted by the courts. But nevertheless, it did happen. He said, anybody in violation, any ISD in violation will be taken to court. So the activist Judge Antonia Arteaga will be put in her lawful place. She needs to learn a lesson. You can't be an activist judge. You need to interpret the law as written, and his executive order has the force of law, was pretty damn strict if you ask me. So anyway, one parent has said that their kid will not be in attendance on Monday and was told probably will be unenrolled because the school gets paid for students who attend school and not for kids who don't. Distance learning doesn't count. They've tried in the legislature many, many times to get money for kids who do distance learning, but they're just not getting it done in the legislature. I bet you if that was on the special session, or maybe it is, maybe it's not, I don't know. Their asses would not be in Washington, D.C., and they'd be back here in Texas legislating that to appease their voters and to get Democrat votes, of course. But by unenrolling the school doesn't want to lose money, so think about it. It's all about the money. It's all about the money, guys. I mean, seriously. Over and over again, it's about money and power. So these judges are doing a disservice to the kids here in San Antonio, and the other judge in Dallas County, I believe, I think it's Dallas County in Dallas, Texas, are doing these kids a horrible injustice. Justice needs to be done. Let's get this swiftly adjudicated and reaffirmed by the Texas Supreme Court, which has ruled in our favor at least twice on these runaway, lazy, good-for-nothing Democrat legislators who are trying to make a statement. They have adjudicated that not only will they be arrested once they are found wherever they may be found, while the Texas Rangers go and find them, they will also not be paid, because I'll be damned if I'm going to have my Democratic legislature, I don't know, mine's Ray Lopez, he is District 125. I'll be damned if they take off on a plane, smile, grin, and smirk with a 12-pack of beer there with no mask, and then get COVID-19, and then come back to my state and then infect the rest of us and add to the government mandates of masking and all the stuff that goes along with it. People are getting sick. They got sick over there, and now they're bringing it back over here. Just think about it. Your own Democratic legislatures are getting you sick with COVID. But nobody seems to care about the illegals who are coming in. 20% of children actually that have come across the border in our buses, in buses of luxury. Actually, they get treated better than most Americans actually that could use some help, namely an American veteran maybe, or maybe homeless who are really trying to use their second chance to make a difference in their lives. They get treated much better than those people there, than that basic average American. But so 20% of them get tested positive with COVID-19. Now, Sheriff Benny Martinez in Brooks County, who had the pleasure, he's a gentleman, and a scholar. He is a lawman of all lawmen. And I said before, and I'll say it again, this man does not let the weight of his badge buckle him down. He does his job, and he does it well. And he does his job as best he can with as little money as he's able to get from the state government, because there's so many bodies to pick up. Now, 20% of all the bodies, now every other day he finds a body or two, or sometimes the bodies are scattered by wild animals. The Texas brush and the Texas wilderness are nothing to play around with, guys. If you're surrounded by brush, it's not like open air where you get a breeze and like you're in a park or anything. When you're surrounded by that brush, it's like you're in an oven. You dehydrate and you die, and they die very quickly, very sadly. Biden's blood, the blood is on Biden's hands. No problem. No question about that. The blood is on the Democrats' hands for doing that. The blood is on Manuel Lopez Obrador's hands. And of course, the blood is on the cartel's hands, because they could give a shit less about what happens to these people once they cross our border. All they know is they're in the United States, and they get lifetime welfare and food stamps and everything else that goes with it, when the average American, probably, who busts their ass and maybe doesn't make enough money and wants to use one of those programs, can't use it because it's being used up by illegal immigrants. Typically, around 50% of the people that come in illegally who register to vote eventually vote Democrat, and the Democrats know this. Biden is sprinkling them around the country like salt and pepper. He's just putting them, let's put some in Maine, let's put some in Minnesota. No, California is enough. Let's put some in really conservative areas like Texas. I don't even want to go to Austin. We'll just go to, say, Midland County, and Terry Johnson County, just Terry Johnson's county. Let's just throw them in there. Terry Johnson was not too happy about that, putting them smack dab in his conservative county, because that is oil country there. And people take their conservative values very seriously. So Joe Biden knew this, and I was pegged by the DHS because I was taking pictures, taking videos, getting cussed out, doing everything that a citizen journalist feels he should do, short of getting taken into custody, which I'm glad I didn't. I was kind of scared for a bit there, but you know what? I got a duty as an American. My oath of my enlistment in the United States Army does not expire. and I will try and fulfill that and continue to fulfill that until the day I die, whether I'm in the Army or not. I cherish our First and Second Amendment rights. Second Amendment, of course, is the right to keep and bear arms, and the First Amendment, freedom of the press and freedom of speech. I violated nothing, and yet the DHS has given me problems when I was in Midland. Now, in contrast, this is really amazing to see and hear. Terry Johnson said that they directly lied to him when he found out he was at home with his wife, and he's watching Fox News, and he hears a report that there's buses coming to Midland County. He's like, what? Probably thinking is that, what the hell's going on here in my county? Let me make some phone calls. Now, he's the top elected official in Midland County, and then of course you got the sheriff, who is the top law enforcement officer in Midland County. He had to make phone calls to the feds, and the feds said, yes, county judge, they are coming, but it's going to be a few weeks, so you'll have enough time to prepare. Well, guess what? They showed up that same damn day. They lied to him. It's on the record. DHS lied to County Judge Terry Johnson about when these kids were going to show up, and yes, they showed up with COVID-19. And when he asked about that, what he was told in response by DHS agents was, don't worry, Mr. County Judge, we're going to put them in separate buses. Like, that really helps. They're coming in, 20% kids with COVID-19, they are being tested, and so it is well documented. And the 20% in Sheriff Benny Martinez's county of Brooks County, those are 20% COVIDs. Now, if the math adds up, which I'm pretty sure it does, it's going to be close to 35 to 40% COVID-19 coming in from 67 plus different countries, right through our border counties, right into our state, right into our country, and then Joe Biden just flies them all over the place, buses them all over the place, gives them free room and board, gives them amenities. They get really loud at night across the fence from the neighbors who are trying to get a good night's sleep, paying taxes on their property. It's despicable what they're doing. Joe Biden needs to go. Kamala Harris, when she slides into the presidency, needs to go. We need to have our president back. We need to make America great again. God bless you, and God bless the great state of Texas.